Good morning, good morning, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, and welcome to another Good Morning Grief devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. with a clogged throat. We're so happy and so grateful to be here with you on today to lead you in a very special way. In today's Good Morning Grief devotion, this is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. That grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is what you reveal on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. I'm so glad you're here with us on today. As we lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. Make sure you like, share, tag somebody in this post. If it's a blessing to you, it might be a blessing to them. Stop playing, y'all. Tag them in Jesus' name. Today, y'all, is day 237. This message is straight from heaven. We gonna talk about I've decided to live again. I have decided to live again. I have decided to live again. I've had decided to live again. No turning back. No turning back. I've decided to live again, y'all. Come on. I love it, y'all. We're going to get into it. Let's talk about it today. After a significant life loss, we all naturally get pulled under by grief. After a significant life loss, we all get pulled under by grief. How many of y'all can relate to that? How many of y'all can relate to that? We all get pulled under by grief. After loss, change, and transition, grief pulls us under, right? Because we're going through something that we've never gone through before. We're navigating through circumstances that we've never had to navigate through before. So we get pulled under by grief. We descend first, sinking down and under. Grief gets harder before it gets easier. We all descend, sinking down and under, trying to navigate through this thing called grief, trying to figure this thing out. It can be rough. It can be tough. It can be something else. You hear me? And so it happens. It pulls us under mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. We feel the weight and the pressure of the loss, the change, and the transition, right? It pulls us under. I love the verbiage because it's so true. It pulls us under. We descend. We go under as we begin to navigate through this pivotal circumstance called grief. Pulls us under. Here it is. Grief gets harder. It gets harder, y'all, before it gets easier. After a time, what happens? We touch bottom. We inhabit the deepest depths of our despair. And then what? After a time, we touch bottom. What was the bottom for you? What was the bottom for you? When you went through what you went through, what was the bottom? What was the bottom? This is any loss, change, and transition. It could be death. It could be divorce. It could be a job. It could be a friendship. It could be a relationship. It could be a sickness, whatever it is. What was the bottom, right? Because when we start dealing with loss, change, and transition, we descend, we go under. It takes us under. Y'all, we reach bottom. But now the question is, what's next, right? After we reach bottom, the question is, what's next? I have decided to live again. What's next after we hit the bottom? I'm going to tell you what's next, y'all. Then we have a choice. We get to the place where we got a choice to make. We hit rock bottom. We got a choice to make, right? Do we choose to ascend? Excuse me. Do we choose to ascend or do we choose to stay there? Do we choose to ascend or do we choose to stay there? Are we going to climb our way up or are we going to stay down where we are? We have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. Are we going to ascend or are we going to stay where we are? And I think this is one of the most pivotal choices that we can make in our life, because the low can be so low. It can be so hard that it can be so, I mean, it's tough, it's rough, right? And trying to pull ourselves up from where we were. It can be so hard, y'all. Navigating through loss, change, and transition is not easy. It can be so hard. It can be so tough. It can be so rough. But we got a decision to make. What is we gonna do? We can die while we are alive, or we can intentionally choose to find our way back to truly living again. Y'all hear that? There are so many people who have died while they were alive, that after the loss, change, and transition, they never been the same, and they chose to die while they were still living. Are you going to die while you're alive? Are you going to give up? Are you going to die while you're alive? Or, here it is, are you going to make the choice to find a way back to truly living again? Right? As for me, I've decided to live. I want to live again. I hope and pray, and I seen somebody post this the other day. They said they lost their mother a couple of years ago, and they said they, got back to the place where they laugh and they smile, and they got the joy back and all of these things. And I was just so happy and so excited, because that's one thing that grief will do. It'll snatch all the joy you got, right? And when you find yourself coming out of the abyss, when you find yourself ascending, climbing to the levels of joy and happiness and laughter and love and all of this stuff again, it's a beautiful place to be in, because so many people don't make it back. So many people get stuck. So many people are in, excuse me, the abyss, right? And so it's a beautiful thing when we can find our way back. Here's the final thought, y'all. Life is a privilege, and choosing to live and love, it fully honors the privilege as well as the person who died. Life is a privilege, and choosing to live and love, it fully honors that privilege as well as the person who died. Y'all, listen to me. Life is a privilege, and choosing to fully live and love, it honors the privilege that life affords you. Not only does it honor the privilege, but it honors the person who died, right? This is a season that we got to go through, we got to navigate through. And even the person that died, watch this, will want you to continue to live, right? They would want you to continue to live. So you have to deal with what you're dealing with. You got to do the work of mourning. You got to be free in your grief. You got to navigate and go through the process, because you still have so much more living to do. There's so many more miles to be traveled on the journey of your life. There's so many more chapters in the book of your life. You got to keep on going. You got to keep on living. You got to keep on moving. You got to keep on pressing, right? You cannot die while you are alive, right? So make the choice. I have decided to live again. You got to decide to live again. I hope you choose to live again. Today is day 237, y'all. I told y'all this message is straight from the heavens. I've decided to live again. Questions, comments, if you got them, holla at your boy one time for the one time. Questions, comments, if you got them, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. I'm looking at the list of the people that's on here, and I know the loss that you've gone through and dealt with, and I'm just hoping and praying that you are choosing to live again. I hope that you are befriending grief. I hope that you're navigating through the process, and I hope that you are choosing to live again. I hope you find your love, your laughter, your joy, your smile. I hope you get it all back in Jesus' name. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. No questions, no comments. I hope y'all have a sensational Saturday. Remember, the small steps lead to great distance. We're going to continue to grieve and mourn and live again. I have decided to live again. I love y'all. Let's go.